on. It's on building mobile apps, connecting with students. It's a very interesting organization. I'm turning it over at this point to YC, who's going to give a presentation on diverse. Please let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and kind of what you guys have done for projects and how you may be able to connect with the legal services community and work with some of the great nonprofits here in doing mobile app development.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for the introduction. So first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone putting your time out, and thank you for us and TAB for hosting us today. So my name is YC. I'm the Client Relationship Manager for Diverse, and here with me is Lambert Shao, and he's our lead Android developer.
Hello.
So first, we'll be going through just very briefly. Lambert will tell you guys who we are and what we do. And then we will spend a lot of time talking about what exactly is the app development and what does it mean for a nonprofit to build an app development and how the app and also how they need to prepare for it. And then we'll just at the end very quickly describe how we do it.
So our core team consists of 6 people. 3 of us are seniors at Boston University, and the rest are alumni. We have mixed specialties in technology and business development. I'm one of the seniors. I major in business with concentrations in finance and information systems, and also a minor in computer science. And this next summer, I'll be starting full-time as a technology advisor for Ernst & Young. YC has experience working with nonprofit clients. For example, she worked with us. She worked with the Peace Corps Northeastern recruitment team for one of our apps, and worked with the Boston Tax Help Coalition. And she really has a deep understanding about what nonprofits might need. So overall, I'll just go through this very quickly. We believe that why and the question of purpose is more important than what. So why we do it is because we want to change the way that social organizations work. One issue that we see is that social organizations might not be able to keep up with the very fast. Like Moore's Law, for example, every 2 years, processing power doubles. And so we want to help like the passionate people who devote their own time and effort to really make an impact. And we want to give developers a chance to use their own expertise because it's very rare for them to be able to help a cause through the skills that they've developed over however many years they've been programming, or if they have had no experience, we want to teach them how to do that. And so what we do is app development and teaching. So we specifically empower those organizations with technology that helps them run better. We provide students a chance to get real-world opportunities and feel like they're helping those around them. Some organizations that we've worked with in the past are Boston Tax Help, are the Peace Corps and Boston Tax Help Coalition. So before we get into the process, we're going to just talk about the overall backend and front end. We're going to define what it is, and we're going to sort of talk about the cycle as a general overview. So the front end is basically the pretty looking outer shell that users interact with directly. It's the buttons you press and the text boxes you type into. An iPhone, for example, is so successful because its user interface is so easy to understand that a toddler can use it. And the front end is all about the aesthetics and basically the usability of the app. The back end is another beast entirely. To clear up a common misconception, a back end is not the equivalent of back office. Where the front end is the button, the back end is how the button works. It's basically the brains of the entire operation. An example of a backend is the ability to search for an app on the App Store and find it among the millions of other apps, and then the ability to press a button and get all of the information of the app onto your phone. Without a backend, the front end literally does nothing. Pressing the button will do absolutely nothing. It'll probably just change an animation, but you won't get any information. So the backend, because it's all about information, it emphasizes the security, the content management, and the actual information that you see, because it needs to come without being interrupted. You don't want to get any sort of viruses from downloading something. And so that's sort of what the back end itself emphasizes. This is a brief overview of the entire mobile app development cycle. There are 5 main steps. It starts off at the top with analysis, where the nonprofits and the developers are trying to figure out the needs and features that will be included in the app. Basically, you're trying to figure out the actual functions that you're going to want to see, and basically we want to also prioritize that list for you to think about what are the most important features and uses that you're going to get out of this app. Next step is the design, where the developers design the front end of the app, the actual aesthetics, and they're going to brainstorm what it'll look like. At this point, they'll also think about who the users are and how they'll use the app. Implementation is the actual writing of code, where they take the brainstorming function from the analysis phase and the brainstorming of aesthetics from the design phase and make the full app. So this is where they take the analysis and design and they put it together, and they but after that it might have a bunch of bugs, and so afterwards you need to test it to make sure it'll run, it'll do everything smoothly and efficiently. So the last step is basically just the idea of continuous improvement, because depending on what kind of software development lifecycle you're looking to do, you may have multiple iterations. You may have multiple features that you're adding on with each and every cycle. And so that's why there's a continuous improvement. You want to make it even more efficient, even better. And so you and your developers will continuously improve it.
Well, so for now, before moving on to the next phase where I'll be talking about what it means for the nonprofit, does anyone have any questions?
Okay, moving on then.
Well, I guess we'll move on to the next part.
I mean, what is the time frame for this development cycle? How long do you guys typically spend putting together an app? Is this a year or a month? What does this mean in real time?
So would this be targeting the general processing, like the general app development, or specifically to us?
Specifically to you guys, and working with students and that type of stuff. What's the time frame look like?
We take around it depends on the program, because we are going to be educating a student at the same time. It will be roughly around 6 to 7 weeks. I can talk more about us and what we do at the end of this presentation. Would that be helpful? Because that will give you a better picture of what we do. Yeah, but for the time being, does anyone have any question on like the front end, back end, and this general app development process? Well, I'm assuming we will move on to the next session.
You can also take questions at the end if you think of anything new.
Yeah. So the next part. So for social organization, since I'm the client, basically the nonprofit, the client relationship manager, I deal with speak with quite a lot of nonprofit, and I find out that the main question a lot of organizations don't really get is, how can a mobile app really help them? Because sometimes they might want it, but they don't know what's it for. Because so one thing you have to understand about mobile app, especially app development for nonprofit, is what is the reason why you need it. You have to understand why you need this app. Otherwise, if you just want a mobile app just because everyone else is having one and it'll be cool to have one, then mobile app might not be for you. Because if you don't understand the fundamental reason why you need it, you might have difficulty trying to work with your developers or whoever will be developing your mobile app, and then there will be a lot of miscommunication just because no one understands the main reason why you need this app. So this picture is a little bit quite a lot of things, but this is the overall app development process in terms of what nonprofit needs to get. So the very first step is the need analysis. So what Bert was talking about is the analyze part. So you have to understand what exactly are the problems that your organization is having, and how can a mobile app solve that problem. So that is the why part of the entire app development, and this is the fundamental of the entire mobile app. And then after that, you need to work with a lot of logistics before you start building up like the coding part, because this what Brett was talking about, the backend system, which here would be basically the database. If you don't have a good database, then it would be very difficult to actually have the front end system, which is the mobile app. So the main question about database is whether you already have one in-house existing database, or you outsource it to a third party. Because if you have your own database, it will be much easier to work with. You can just simply share this database and give access to the developers, and they can just make a mobile app using the same database. But if you outsource it to a third party, then that's where it could get a little bit tricky. You and your developer will need to speak with your third party, outsource the party, to discuss like what other limitation or what other obstacles of like actually getting access to your data. Because in the past, that's actually something that we have to work with, that they cannot give full access to the developers to use it for the mobile app. So that would be something you have to keep in mind if you have a third party, if you outsource your database to a third party. But then if you actually don't really have a good database right now, so having this mobile app, you will definitely need one. So maybe this would be a good idea and good timing for you to actually design one and have one for your organization. So the next is wireframing. So the wireframing part is basically like a blueprint of what your mobile app will look like. And at this process, you need to understand who are the people who will be using your mobile app. You need to understand the user. That is because, like, imagine you have a firm. This firm is let's just take a firm A. They have around like 1,000 volunteers, and all the volunteers around middle age or retirement age. So, and your primary communication is through like email and text message is pretty inefficient. And this firm A is trying to have a mobile app so that they can actually talk through like the app instead. So when you do the wireframing part, what you need to think about, maybe for example, you think about that since they're on the these volunteers are older, you will want to design your app to have bigger fonts or button that's relatively bigger, so it'll be easier for them to use. Because you need to think about how your user will interact with this app. This is the phase where you need to have a good understanding of who are the user. So after this, having a blueprint of your mobile app, now we'll go to design. And design is where you make the blueprints into something really pretty and something that like it will look like you want to use it, like with colors and everything. But with this design part, so for you as a nonprofit, if you have any like branding material or any existing logo, you should give it to the developer so they can use it or have a standardized like color theme. Otherwise, it might look a bit weird and awkward if the app doesn't look like something that your organization would own. So this is the part where you still have to work a lot with your developers. But afterwards, starting around the programming part, it's where you get a little bit hands off. And the developers will be taking over, and they will be writing a lot of like lines of code and actually doing the magic of app development and making it into an actual app. And then they will have the quality assurance, and that is the part where they will do a lot of testing, making sure there's no bugs, and you can publish it and user can use it like on a daily basis. So that kind of sum up the entire process, like just very quick overview of the entire process of the app development and what the nonprofit needs to do. As Bert was saying, that we actually adding value to both parties, for the students and for you, for the nonprofit. So for the student, we teach them a lot of the front-end mobile app development education so that they can actually make the mobile app. They will be the one who's programming it. But what we add value